severe healthcare problem. There's also a severe healthcare problem. And why this is also important is that there's a relationship between health and the economy, right? There's actually a very good relationship that a lot of people don't realize. There's a good relationship between health and the economy, right? So there's that gap, and if people's health improve, there's also a reflection on the economy, right? So next slide. Yes, what are the major challenges? Number one is lack of finance. If people are not able to afford basic healthcare, how do they want to access it? Right? If people are not able to afford just basic healthcare, then it becomes a challenging situation for them. Right? Today in Nigeria as well, there's also a problem of limited facilities. So to put context into this, if you look at a lot of the rural areas, there are a lot of people in rural areas where it takes them, they have to take a long while to get to the nearest pharmacy or to get to the nearest hospital or clinic, right? I've seen some conversations online where people are talking about some local governments, in their states not even having primary health centers, right? So this is a major concern, right? Distance and time. Of course, people want to man their business post. People want to go to work, right? So if there's that health challenge until it becomes very, very, very serious, that is when they go to the hospital or they find healthcare access, right? There's also the lack of trust in the system. And one thing I've also discovered is that that lack of trust is also as a result of awareness. People do not understand the importance of healthcare that much, right? There are people who are, I also read recently somewhere that half of the population of the world over the age of 30 are probably have high blood pressure, right? Maybe hypertension one. A lot of people don't even realize it, right? A lot of people in that category are still smoking, right? And people like that should run away from cigarettes. A lot of people like that are still drinking heavily and making lifestyle decisions that are not favorable to them. So there's still that lack of awareness as regards the health, right? And of course, the preference for self-medication is also important to emphasize on this, that the reason why traditional medicines are still in high demand, which we know for sure has implication on the kidneys, right? Is that people are not aware. They trust that Baba that have told them to put one or two leaves together and make that concoction, right? So there's still, and I also noticed that lack of awareness is also a reflection on the preference for self-medication. So there has to be, so those are the major concerns that people are facing today. But before I move into what I think that the solution should be, is that there has to be a mindset shift, right? People have to realize that that's decision makers, right? Policy makers in top organizations have to realize that it is not just about providing services to your people. It is a responsibility to take care of your people, right? Not just your colleagues, also your customers. What a lot of people have today is they are more concerned about the health of the people that work with them, but the people that make you money, right, are also should also be taken care of. So what do I mean? Let me give an example to this. Because of my experience in lending, right? Um, there are a lot of people who are over the age of 60 that should naturally have access to healthcare, right? That people to have access to credits, right? We call them senior citizens, but the reason why we don't give them money is because we fear that they may die soon, right? We fear that people like that are already they're already on the edge at any moment from now, right? But if there are measures to manage healthcare information. So for example, if someone over the age of 60, you're able to have access to their health records to say, okay, this person's blood pressure is low, this person has low sugar, right? This person's cholesterol level is low, this person doesn't have any medical concerns. Do you understand? Then you can probably stretch them to say, okay, maybe I can still give this person loans up to the age of 65 because there are no inherent risk, right? But because of the risk of death, we worry that, oh, if we give this person loan, this person may die, and then it becomes a loss for us, right? So those are some of the concerns. Those are some of the challenges that we have with providing healthcare for some of these customers. Next slide, please. So what is the opportunity like in the market today, right? Next again. Pop, pop, pop. So I'm not seeing that. Okay, yeah. So I don't know what's happening. I think the screen is moving. Yeah, next slide after the market opportunity. Yeah, so traditional retention strategies, right? Are they reliable or are they sustainable? That's the question that we probably want to ask next, right? Are these retention strategies reliable? Are they sustainable? Right? Next slide again. Okay, so what are the traditional retention strategies that we know today? Number one is relationship management, right? So what people will naturally do today is that once you go to an institution, you have a designated relationship manager, right? Or some people call them portfolio managers, some people call them sales officers, some people call them um, credit officer, depending on the institution that that's the context of the institution that we work for, right? When people have experience of personalized approach, they feel seen, right? They feel seen, they feel recognized, so it's easier for them to relate, with the organization through that person, right? But what we have also seen is that this is what everyone is doing. Everybody already has access to that strategy, so it's no longer a differentiation for them. Do you get? It's no longer a differentiation for them. Another concern is, oh, people are also reducing rates, right? The traditional method of retention today is reducing rates. So, for example, if you are taking loans today, right, the average rate will probably be around 5%, right? But we also know that there's also a concern with the CBN's NPR policy, where there's a limit to how much you can reduce rate, no matter how profitable you are, right? Even if you have all the liquid assets in the world, you cannot go beyond the threshold. So what happens with that is that everybody is limited to a threshold which you can go below, right? And that also helps everyone to be competitive, right? So you can't really use rate as a strategy to retain anybody. So what other people are probably using today that might even be slightly of an advantage is speed, right? So I remember like 6, 7 years ago, if you wanted to take loans, you probably would do 24 hours, 48 hours. But right now, there are a lot of people that are doing 30 seconds to 1 minute. Once you're able to submit your application, right, within 30 seconds to 1 minute, you get your alert. Do you understand? So those are some of the things that, and it's not just one person, there are a lot of people doing things like this. So there's also the concern of loyalty and reward programs, right? And these are very valid retention strategies that people are still using till date. People still want to, reward loyalty. Oh, if you are taking a certain level of loans, we reduce rate for you, right? We give you coupons, or we give you this. You have access to one or two other packages. So those are the kind of things that people are using to retain customers. But it's also the same thing that a lot of people are doing. Everybody's doing the same thing. So basically, what this concern is about is that everyone is on the same level. We are all trying to do the same thing, right? Consistent reliability. Oh, I know that if I finish pay down this loan, I'm going to get another one immediately. I can mention 20 companies in my industry, right, that do similar, that have similar strategies. Are we following? So everybody is basically doing the same thing. So what will now differentiate the normal players from the top players, from people who are serious, who are going to take the future, by the horn, are what we want to discuss next, right? What I'll call the next slide, please. What I'll basically call the product differentiation or the value added service. So what is the new approach for customer loyalty? I know I mentioned earlier on, so I hope you're following me on this journey, that there's a relationship between healthcare and the economy, right? If people are healthy, people live better. A sick person cannot go to their business places, right? One of the challenges of collections for a lot of SME businesses today, right, is that people will tell you, oh, because I'm not feeling well, I'm not able to go to my business, right? The people who face this challenge the most are people who even, cover the low income customers, right? People are not able, they are not productive because of health challenges, right? Someone with high blood pressure or with malaria, severe malaria, or with typhoid are unable to, to take care of themselves, right? Because of some of these challenges. So that's why this new approach is very, very, very important. So next slide, please. Yeah, embedding a value-added service like healthcare into a product is a powerful customer retention strategy. So let me create a scenario for you. Imagine a customer walking to your organization, right? And after giving them the value that they get, you assure them to tell them, oh, aside from this that you're getting, if you also sign up with our product, you can also get health facilities, access to health facilities, and all of that. That changes the reasoning of the customer. That changes the mentality of it changes the mindset of the customer. They start thinking, oh, these guys actually are doing the extras for us, right? So the people who are going to actually win for retention in the future are the people who actually take the health of their customers seriously, especially in this space, right? Next slide, please. Right. So, what are the benefits, right, that this gives? Number one is that it increases customer lifetime value, right? Because a customer knows that I am going to enjoy these provisions from the organization, this extra value from this organization, they tend to want to stay, right? They tend to is a different approach to what others are providing. So they tend to want to stay loyal to those organizations. Number two, that it reduces churn rate by creating stickiness, right? Embedding healthcare into a product will make a customer become more loyal to you, right? And I had a conversation with a colleague while preparing for this recently, and I said, oh, what's your best strategy for marketing, right? And the answer was unanimous, right? Is mouth to so we call it mouth to mouth adverts or mouth to mouth marketing. So basically, what that means is that it's your customer that will sell your products. Do you understand? It's your customer that will sell your product to other customers and make them want to come back because of the kind of business that we do, right? So if you also want to kill your business, it is the customers that you also service that will also kill your business for you. So what that means is that if a customer also says, "Oh, these guys are not serious," they don't take their stuff seriously. What that means is that the customers also it will spread, and then everybody starts deactivating from whatever product that you are offering. So that's a very big concern. You need to create that kind of stickiness where, oh, even if someone comes telling us, oh, I have a better product somewhere else. They're like, oh, because I'm enjoying this particular service, I do not want to leave them, right? It's not, apart from just those two things I mentioned, it also builds trust. That's another point I've also mentioned here. It builds trust and foster a strong brand, right? When people go out to talk about your product or your company, they don't only talk about they don't only talk about the product, they talk about other service that you are offering them that they enjoy, right? So there's a stronger brand recognition for you. There's increased loyalty for your product. And finally, it also enables a data-driven retention strategy. So I mentioned earlier as well, right, that if you, as an organization, if you also invest in the health of your customers, you can also improve, you can improve the bottom line, right? If rather than limiting your loans to the age of 60, like the example I gave earlier, limiting your access to credit to the age of 60. If you have data to support that this person doesn't have any health concerns, you can take the risk to say, okay, let me even extend this person to maybe 65 years because there's no inherent risk, of death or whatever. You get that kind of thing. So it's important to also take note of those data points, right? To make very instructive decisions as to how the products can also better the lives of your customers, right? So I know there will still be time for questions. There will still be time for more communications, right? I just want to stop here so that I can also give time for other people to, to join in this conversation. So thank you very much, guys. I think I'll stop here for now. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Moses. See, I've already my notepad, my notepad is already full because there were some things that you mentioned that, to be completely honest, I hadn't made those connections. So I know that WHO would say things that in Nigeria, 1.1 billion dollars is lost annually due to malaria, due to people being sick with malaria. But you've actually made me make that switch in my thinking process to think it's not just from the angle of because their workers are sick. There's an angle of because your customers are ill, they cannot buy what you're selling. So
Exactly.
thank you very much for setting that stage so perfectly. You've made it very clear that this is not a problem we can afford to ignore. So I guess we can move on to the next bit of things because identifying a problem is one thing, identifying a gap is one thing. The next thing is what is the solution? Our next speaker will provide the answers by showing us how others have successfully solved the exact same problems. So, Dr. Oluwafumike Ogwa is the senior manager and team lead at Village Reach. An accomplished medical professional and a public health specialist, Dr. Ogwa brings over a decade of experience advancing maternal and child health, HIV programs, and digital health innovations across Nigeria. She has led large-scale programs that improved outcomes for women and children, strengthened health systems in partnership with governments, and trained teams in pediatric nutrition and digital health adoption. Her expertise spans epidemiology, digital health, and implementation science, making her such a powerful voice on how healthcare can drive retention and growth for digital platforms. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Oluwafumike Ogwa.
Thank you so much, Anita, and hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this, and it's a pleasure to be here and to be discussing this with everyone on the call. And thank you also, Moses. That was a pretty great time of setting the pace for all of us to continue in this conversation. Basically, the world is getting busier. And, Moses said something about younger people coming down with chronic illnesses. Like, right, everybody's hustling. Everybody's like trying to make things work and stuff like that. What does the future look like? The future is here, right? And we want people to be able to live longer. We want people to be available to make more money. One thing with us as a nation is that Nigeria is known to have a very a very great number of young people. And so you expect that that should actually translate to having more money because people are more agile, excuse me, and so they can work, effectively and stuff like that. But we know, just like we also heard from the previous speaker, that this is not always the case. If people are getting really busy and they can't even seek the health that they really want or that they desire, then what do we do? Like, you have to always tailor your solutions, your strategies towards the people that you want to meet their needs. I don't know if any of you has been to, I expect that you would have experienced what it is like to be in a very busy healthcare setting, whether it is a government owned or not. I remember, sometimes when we had to refer patients, you refer patients to teaching hospitals and they're like, doctor, please, like, I don't want to go, and they're like, they think that it's a death sentence already because one, they're considering the wait time, the fact that, when you get to the facility, you might not even get the care that you need. You might have to, keep taking appointments before you eventually get your problem solved. And that is actually why, the innovation around embedding healthcare is actually very crucial at such a time as this. Because when people also lose time, they are losing some costs there. And so, people who have done cost effectiveness studies would look at time spent away, like, the amount, when you quantify that time, you also want to place value on it and say, this is the amount of time lost, this is the amount of money lost. Imagine someone who, for example, is a petty trader and has to spend so much time going to a facility. You have to imagine how much money that person would have lost during the time frame of being in that facility. And that's why it's important to actually bring the healthcare to where people will use it, so that they don't have to travel so far. People don't have to wait until it's an emergency before they actually get the care that they need. And that's why this is important. So we have heard that this is a proven strategy. It's a proven solution. Please, you can put up the slide, except you want me to. Okay, yeah, thank you. So basically, we want to look at the business side of things, right? We already know that you can't keep doing things the same way and expect to have different results. So if you want to get different results, you have to do it in a better way, a proven way, right? So that you can get better results. When you get better results, we said something about some traditional strategies where it's word of mouth. If you get good results, people would refer you and they want to keep coming back to you. And that's why this is important. So to the business side of things, right? Next slide, please. Great. So, we've heard also at the very beginning, Anita walked us through that embedded care is mainly about, where healthcare services are integrated directly into communities or system. And that this is actually a powerful model for improving patient retention and outcomes, right? We conducted a study recently, an implementation research, and we had to deploy, models to people in underserved areas in Lagos State. We wanted to take digital health to where people were. And we saw that, yes, even though many people were not aware, I mean, of course, we're not talking about the very comfortable people. We actually targeted the underserved, and we noticed that they weren't aware of telehealth opportunities that were available, but people used them because it was near them. They felt like these are actually good opportunities here to seek health care. So it's embedded care. Embedded health care refers to the delivery of health services within the environments where people live, work, or interact. I mean, Anita talked about having that your bank app, and when you open it because you want to use it, you want to transfer funds. I mean, nobody's going to use an application that is easily hacked, or that does not work. I mean, imagine how frustrated you get when you're trying to use an application to transfer money, or maybe you're at a supermarket, you're trying to send money and your money is not going through. And that's actually what brought up, some of our fintech solutions, where that the moment you're sending that money, somebody's not waiting at the other end to say, oh, I haven't received the alert, oh, this and that. The money actually drops. Imagine that, you're providing healthcare as well. It's embedded in those solutions. It's embedded in what the people's daily lives, things that people would do normally, and they don't have to don't have to go out too much out of their way to actually get the healthcare that they need. I mean, that would be great because it would save us a lot of emergencies, right? It would help people to prioritize their health, and it would help people to actually get better outcomes. So, imagine that we have those in homes, in our schools, workplaces, or through digital platforms, like I've explained. This embedded healthcare emphasizes proximity, personalization, and continuity, right? So some studies have actually shown that to acquire a new customer costs about 5 to 7 times more than an existing one. And I'm sure that this is not surprising. Imagine to get one is tough. So why would you not want to keep that one? So organizations that embed healthcare practices achieve 40% longer average customer retention because your customer is not waiting. I mean, I recall that there was a time, way back that I had to access healthcare, and by the time I called, and they were like, yeah, okay, this situation is mild, so maybe you should go to the nearest pharmacy and all that. And of course, for that type of setting, I needed to pay out of pocket, and then now retire my documents back to the insurance organization and stuff like that. But then I felt like, why? Like, I'm calling from the comfort of my office. I needed care, and I felt like it should have been more accessible. What if I had, or what if they had, a platform where you could actually also just access the medications? Like, as soon as you're done, you're sending it across to the pharmacist and saying, yeah, so and so needs this, and then it's going to be delivered. Like, that just makes it really seamless. So embedded solutions are strategic, right? And we live in a world where a lot of things are changing, and we have to be strategic about how we deliver care to our clients, right? So of course, when you retain your clients, because when you embed care, people would say, anyways, I haven't used that particular service since then. Thankfully, I've not actually had the reason to, but I'm like, it's just a longer touch point. Why do I have to do that? Like, I can make this touch point shorter for myself. See that when you actually embed care into what people are already familiar with, it helps them to stay with you because they're like, yeah, this is a solution that works for us. This is something that is fantastic. And then they get to tell more people about it. So they contribute to your joint wins because they bring in more people. You get better results. You can track your results, right? They advocate for this, and they also bring up new opportunities. Right. So models of embedded care support longitudinal care. You can monitor your clients over a period of time. You can track it and say, yeah, we have done this. And you're going to see some examples, right, of certain digital applications and, digital interventions that some people have used that have actually helped in their success, right? So it supports that longitudinal care over a period of time, and that fosters continuity and trust, right? I mean, I have worked in healthcare settings where people would walk in and they would say, oh, they wanted to see me. Like, at some point I would say, or maybe or they wanted to see a particular doctor, right? It's because they're used to that person, right? Or you walk into even a bank or anywhere, and you want to continue with the person that you know. You want to continue with the person that you trust. Somebody was nice to you. You're like, yeah, please, can I see that person? That's because that's the person you're now familiar with. You've now created a niche sort of with that person and a type of relationship or a type of bond. And that's what embedded care also provides. So it's a key driver. It's a very key driver for retention. It helps people to stay with you, to stick with you. You win together, and they become an advocate for increase for the company. Next slide, please. So we're just going to, of course, see some reasons again why you should embed healthcare. It is a very strategic move for any leader in the healthcare space. You have to think strategically. If everybody is doing it and getting the same results, like we just keep circling around the same results, right? But for instance, like the population of the world is so massive, it's so big, and there's a whole lot that we can actually all do together. Like the space is big enough for everyone to function in, but then how do you make sure that you are thriving and you're succeeding in what you're doing, right? So that's why you should actually embed healthcare. It strengthens relationships, like I've explained. It improves retention, stay with you, get results. I mean, within the healthcare space, it's common to hear things like, "Oh yes, doctor, I've been to so many places and I didn't get results. It was until one particular person prescribed a medication or did this or did that, right?" And so, like I said, when they go, they want to keep seeing that person because it's like when we say, oh, 50% mortality, 20% mortality, or even 60% mortality, that's a proportion. But to that person, to that one person that dies, it is 100%. So nobody wants to joke with their health. Nobody wants to revolve around the same thing. Nobody wants to do trial and error to say, oh, it works here, it doesn't work here. When you embed healthcare, trust is established, you retain your customers, right? It enhances access and equity because you're bringing care to people where they are, right? And of course, it drives better health outcomes, right? I've seen people that sometimes, they actually want to, they don't want to they don't want to comply, whatever it is that, has actually, whatever they have been, whatever has been prescribed for them. But if you want to drive better health outcomes, if it's convenient for people, if it's something that is available, accessible, it will drive better health outcomes because they're going to stick with it and they're going to get results. And of course, it also sustains sustainability and system resilience because it's a sustainable plan. It's something that we can continue to do and keep getting better results, and it will help all of us ultimately. Next slide. So I'm just going to walk us through, just two case studies here, right? For instance, in the United States, the Atrium Health launched the that's the Atrium Health Hospital at Home program, where they embedded acute care services directly into patients' homes. Through through a combination of remote monitoring, virtual consultations, like everything was happening at home. And, sometimes in-person visits, the program reduced hospital readmissions by 30% and cut costs by nearly 40% compared to traditional inpatient care. So if you're cutting costs, like if you're achieving more, being more effective and efficient in the results that you're getting, people are going to want to come to you. And it's good business as well. So patients reported higher satisfaction due to the comforts and convenience of receiving care at home. And this model illustrates how embedding care into the home environment, for example, can improve outcomes, reduce system strain. I mean, that's a whole ballgame, a different ballgame altogether, reducing the strain on the system, and it enhances patient retention and trust. Next slide. So to another one, right, I mean, near us here in Africa, in Kenya, a digital and mobile-based care model was implemented across 9 clinics to manage hypertension and diabetes. I mean, these are chronic conditions that are pretty common before we start talking about even other things like cancer and co. But this one was for hypertension and diabetes. And the initiative included self-monitoring devices, a digital health wallet, and peer support groups. So results showed that 50% of hypertensive and 74% of diabetic patients achieved disease control. I'm sure these are things that you want to boast about. You want to say, oh, we did this and these are our results. It works. Compared to 42% and 52% at baseline that he had recorded. So what does this tell us? Trust drives loyalty. Partners are going to stay where they feel respected. Care reduces churn, okay? Because like I mentioned earlier, replacing partners is costly. And of course, a positive reputation, because when you get better results, when you get good results, it gives you a positive reputation. It gives you, caring partners would attract more collaborations, right? Shared success, you record this, and then because cared for partners would go the extra mile for you. They would say things that, you wouldn't believe, and they would make sure, they'll keep bringing people your way. So who does not want to keep, doing better? I mean, that's the business of care. You want to have more clients, you want to have more funds. It's a win-win for you and the clients, right? So I think, with all of this, it's clear that embedded healthcare is the way forward. And there's no better way or better time to start, but now we actually have to continue to strengthen all of the strategies and ensuring that why would we not do things that work? Why would we want to wait until, we see it, or we experience it? Like you're seeing that something works and you want to keep doing things the same way. No, we should actually switch, to getting things done in a better way. As I conclude, because we're going to get into a session where we're going to learn the how. How are we going to now do this? How do we go about embedding healthcare, right? Because we now know that it works, right? So I'll just, please go to the conclusion slide. I just want to let everyone know that by embedding care within the patient's environment and leveraging real-time data, healthcare providers can deliver more responsive, tailored services that meet individual needs, right? There is nothing like that. Like I said, one mortality, or when you're recording 50%, it is 100% for that one person, because within that family, one person has died. It is the 100% for that person. So it's important that as we do this, we're tailoring our strategies towards individual needs. And that's what would work. There's nothing like one size fits all, and then you're doing, something that is just super general. If you understand the needs of the people that you're serving and you're, tailoring services to meeting their needs, you're going to get better results. And from a strategic standpoint, investing in embedded care It's not just about improving health outcomes, right? It is actually a decision that, you would never regret. It is something that would keep working for you. It is something that will yield returns, measurable returns. And so I'm just going to allow us to continue to have this conversation as we learn about the how, of the embedding healthcare. So, but thank you so much for paying attention, and thanks for being a part of this. Over to you, Anita. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ogba. In fact, there are certain things that you mentioned here that are like very key to me. One is the one you were saying that the one person it happens to is the 100%. I even have personal experiences where I've gone to the hospital and it's like, oh no, for your age and your this, the chances of that. I said, doctor, if it happens to me, I don't want to know about the chances of it's not chances of. So that's very key there. I think the second thing is when you spoke about embedding healthcare, helping in proximity and personalization of care. And I think that that is very key because imagine just back to what Moses was saying, if there was a situation where maybe you had the 60-year-old customer who, based on data that is available, you know that this person, then they're all right. They will be all right for the next 20 years. So I can extend loans or any other products to them, and that will increase my revenue. So thank you so much. Your case studies have really highlighted how this embedded healthcare can be used as strategic business choices. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, for the final and most critical part of this conversation, because Dr. Ogba she even brought that up. That's how important this is. You've heard about the why, you've heard the proof that it works. Now, the question is, how does this happen? Because we can say these things and it's great that we know, but the only time there will be an actual difference is if we know how to implement the solutions. So we are honored to have a product leader from MoneyPoint who can speak to the strategic decisions behind building and integrating a new service. Anu Oyeleye is a product lead at MoneyPoint Group with over a decade of experience in driving innovation and delivering exceptional products. Her expertise lies in the strategic development of end-to-end product life cycles, where she excels at translating market insights into actionable product strategies. Anu is a passionate leader who leverages data-driven analytics and cross-functional collaboration to deliver market-leading solutions that consistently exceed customer expectations. So please welcome Anu Oyeleye.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me today. How do I start, or where do I start from? Because the two speakers that spoke before me, Moses and Dr. Fumi, they've already laid a solid foundation to what I'll be saying, and I'm very, very happy because again, it now allows me to just maybe I'm going to go pretty much, I think I'll go a little technical, but I won't go too technical so I don't lose my audience. But taking a cue from what Moses said, from loyalty to rewards, companies having, especially healthcare, right? And then Moses also said something about healthcare is also a huge part of growing the economy because again, you need your citizens to be 100% before they can, contribute to, in Nigeria we call it IGR, or the FAC, federal allocated resources and all of that. So taking a cue from there, looking at loyalty, looking at rewards, word of mouth goes for referrals, and then what kind of rewards you want to give your users, to be able to have them loyal to you. In this case, healthcare, right? And taking it down to Dr. Fumi that spoke, talking about now looking more strategically into the embedded healthcare, right? Honestly speaking, embedded healthcare is the way forward. Products, or let me say healthcare products, have gone beyond the traditional way of building things, which is just essentially slapping or slamming API into your system and then just moving on. It has now become a more holistic view or product where healthcare companies, or let me say startups, are literally, they've sat down to say, what is going to be our best bet? Should we build in house, or should we have a third party integration, to help move things quicker, right? Which I'm going to talk about. The third party is the no code embeds, right? Which comes either as a form of widget, or it comes as a form of a snippet. You just have to choose what is going to work for you. The kind of time you have to ship to the market to allow customers, I mean, again, in this case, healthcare patients, to buy into whatever it is that you've done, for you to know who's loyal, for you to know who's going to refer you, who's going to remain on your system, and also bring in more people by either word of mouth or by show of, what the app is about. So without further ado, I would like to go straight into my presentation. Anissa, please could you help share? Okay. Can someone please help me share my slides? Okay. So the topic, or my, I just decided to make it a little bit more products, have a product feel to it. So a little bit of tweak here. It still has the same embedded healthcare and all of the conversations that we've already had, but just, like I said, to make it more, to make it have that product feel, I tweaked mine to the product mindset and strategic growth. Dr. Fumi already said a lot about strategies and strategic growth in terms of embedded healthcare. So I'm just going to marry all of that together, and also with what Moses said at the beginning. Please, next slide. Okay, so just a quick, oof. Okay, you know what? Okay, I think I'm just going to be doing almost like a mirror on the side. So the, just hold on a minute. Okay, so I'm just going to take us through, let me see, six things really quickly. Product mindsets, just like Moses laid foundation, measuring customer loyalty, the different things that we look out for, the NPS, the retention, the churn. NPS is Net Promoter Score, by the way. We also look at LTV, which is the customer lifetime value, right? And then second thing, so we're going to progressively start looking at things in more technical, view. So secondly, is going to look at quickly the build versus the partner challenge, DIY versus strategic partnerships, doing it yourself in-house or integrating into somebody that already has a system, like that, a system that already has the entire foundation that you want, that thing you want to build. You just want to go integrate into them and keep them moving, or you want to build afresh. We're going to look at that. Third is going to be seamless integration and white labeling, just a little bit different from number two. Number four, of course, all of these things, whichever way you want to look at it, whatever approach you're taking, the go-to-market speed, which is speed to integration. I was about to say production, but again, speed to integration to production, right? Then the one that really merges everything holistically together, no code versus full embed approaches. Then finally, the key takeaways. Please let me know if I'm going too fast. Please, next slide. Okay, you know what? I think I'm going to share my screen instead. This is, yes, please. Let me just do that. Okay, so. Okay. That's good. Oh, sugar. Okay, so just give me a minute. Oh no, please don't do this to me. Okay, sorry. Okay, hold on. Anita, if I share you the link itself, it's a Google Doc, Google Slides. If I share you the link, are you going to be able to quickly share that? Is that possible?
I should be able to because
Okay,
it's let me do it for you. You know what? Just send it to me. Let me do it for you because it's
okay. So
the
I'm going to drop
back
that in
end
the
team
chat
are the
real quick.
ones handling all of that. But let me do it.
Yeah, I'm just going to drop that in the chat real quick for yes, please. Just help me handle that because I think I realized the PDF messed up the alignment.
Oh, it looks like I need access.
Okay, hold on a minute. Just give me a minute. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. I'm so sorry, guys. This wasn't planned in any way.
Don't
Share.
worry, it's part of it. It adds character.
Okay, so yes, I've seen your request for access. I'm coming. I'm coming. It's all done. Yes, I'm granting you access in a little bit. In a little bit. Sure. So you should have access right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Let's go.
Let me know when you can see it.
Coming up. Yes, just tell me click on slideshow. Perfect. You're
Yeah.
doing well. Okay, okay. So yes, that is where we are. So taking us through the very first one, the product mindset, right? Measuring customer loyalty. I'm building on what Moses has said, really, right? Customer loyalty is multi-dimensional, right? It is, how do I explain it? It's just everywhere. It's something that you have to take seriously, right? And it's not just about customers coming back. It is two things. I only put one there. It is why they come back and if they would actually stay after coming back, right? So you want so in product we say stickiness, right? Is your product sticky enough? Do you have features that would enable stickiness where when something is sticky, it just stays, right? And meaning that they come back, but even after coming back, is your product good enough for them to stay and eventually, refer your product to other people? So three types of loyalty here: behavioral loyalty, emotional loyalty, value alignment loyalty. Behavioral, in this case, really is measured by repeat purchases, logins, session frequency, renewals, and product adoption trend. So for an embedded healthcare system or solution, right? You want to look at, fine, you have integrated with another party, with a third party, you've integrated into them. But the base of it is yours. It's your infrastructure, it's your database, it's your server, everything is on you, right? Now, you want to also be able to measure behavioral loyalty. How frequent do people log in? How frequent do people sign up? How frequent do people renew? So you want to do a freemium. I think that's what we call it, free premium, but freemium meaning you just want them to sign up for free, enjoy for a little bit, maybe for like 3 months, and then uh you slam them with a gold, silver, bronze, or sorry, bronze, silver, gold. And I mean, the higher the tier, the higher the try to say how much they have to pay, right? And then the product adoption trend. So just like I said, for example, a customer who wants to upgrade from a free to a premium plan shows behavioral loyalty. So you've given them that leeway to say, this is free for you guys. for like maybe 3 months. And then for them to be able to pay for the next year, that of course would allow them. So when it's premium, meaning you're not paying, it's for free, of course. And then you're able to pay later after 3 months because you have received value. And there's something, that product is sticky. You are there, you are stuck, you find value, you know what next to do. I mean, almost like without it, you cannot do anything. For example, let me go a little bit away from healthcare. People that use Canva a lot. Canva started with freemium, like it's still there. I use Canva freemium. However, if I have something more intense to use Canva for, right? If I was really trying to build my product design or graphics design, trust me, I'll go pay for what's it called? I'll go pay for their premium what's it called, service. Now for other healthcare solutions, right? A lot of them are out there. You just have to know what is what. If you're getting value, you're great. Emotional loyalty, it is captured through, this is quite interesting because people that use healthcare, you have to be sentiment, because if I'm going to the hospital or if I need healthcare right now from the comfort of my home and I use a particular app and I don't get value for that, I'm sentimental because again, or maybe they're wasting time, or maybe I just didn't like the way the healthcare professional, the doctor, the GP spoke to me or disregarded my effort. I will just look at it, okay, no problem. And I'll leave them. Why? Because it is sentimental for me, because I didn't get that value I wanted. I didn't get that emotional attachment, that empathy I was looking for as a patient, right? Looking at it again from reviews, from social media engagement and customer satisfaction surveys. Again, another aspect of it, which I would tie to emotional loyalty, is for every product. This is, I think, the people that use this the most are fintech providers, banks. There's this thing that at the end of it, I think even WhatsApp does it, especially when you make calls. How is it? How did you enjoy the service or something like that? And you either give it thumbs up or thumbs down or some sort of rating from 1 to 5, something like that as well would help, right? Example, customers who publicly advocate for your product even when alternatives exist. Regardless, the people that would look at it and be like, okay, you know what? I'm sentimental. Even if, case in point, sorry, I'm going to use a lot of fintech before I go deep into embedded healthcare. Case in point, that time when GTB went down and it affected every single person. I'm sure it affected a lot of healthcares as well, hospitals, right? The people that even after that happened, they still went back to GTB. Why? Emotional loyalty. It's GT now, they've been out for long. The orange brand, GT for life. No, that kind of a thing. But they still went back. Why? Because everybody knows GT sometimes can be stable, right? And then you just go back, right? So that's emotional loyalty. Again, thirdly is value alignment loyalty. You want to be able to, you want customers, again, aka patients, to perceive your product as mission critical or aligned with their values. With healthcare, I want to believe, okay, so let me use myself as an example, yeah? I am very, I think I've only used one hospital in almost 20 years. And that's because that hospital has provided me a lot of value. I've been able to align the, what's it called, the values with my own lifestyle. I don't fall sick regularly, but if I'm going to fall sick, peradventure, and I want to go to a hospital, I will go to Barnes Hospital. Why? Because they understand my language, I understand their value. In fact, all of it, behavioral loyalty is there, emotional loyalty. I think there was a time when I changed jobs and people were like, what hospital do I use? And I mentioned I used Barnes Hospital, and they were like, why? And then when I gave the story to why I'm using Barnes, like, okay, don't worry, we're sold. So I more or less referred people to Barnes. Now, this is just a walk-in hospital. They don't have any form of digital stuff, right? But I was able to relate to the values that they have, in addition to how empathetic and emotional they've been to me. Now, moving that away to product in itself, right, is businesses that embed your product into their operations cannot easily switch away. Now, let me put it like this. Let me give you a typical example. For healthcare services, right, or for healthcare startups that want to build fast and ship fast, all they just need to do is For maybe the pharmacy part or for the telehealthcare part, they just need to integrate into the third party. That's all they need. They don't need to build it in-house for, again, like I said, startup, maybe for the first 3 years. Just embed, integrate into them. Let that be how you are able to ship really fast, right? So that you can align that value of this is, we need to provide healthcare in a very quick and seamless manner. And the only way we can do that, let's quickly integrate into a third party, embed the services, right? Now, the metrics to use for this, after you've done your integration, I'll go more into more details later. Net promoter score, like I said, word of mouth. How many people will be able to say, go and use, again, top of my head, Wella Health. Go and use Wella Health. Wella Health is similar to that. It increases your net promoter score. The customer lifetime value is a very long formula for you to calculate that. And then retention. How many people are you even able to retain? Why? Because you have that embedded service. You are able to, let me use the word, there's a word I like, defragment the different services and not carry the burden by yourself. To say, okay, you know what, pharmacy, embedded service here. Even blood bank, telehospital, for users or for, let me say, for patients that need to talk to GPs quickly, embed it. For patients that need to do video call with GPs as well, embed that video calling aspect of it. Don't build it by yourself. That is going to allow you to have easy penetration into the market, right? Next slide, please. Okay, so moving to build versus partner challenge, which is DIY, do it yourself, building in-house, or strategic partnerships to just consume APIs from other people. Now, building in-house provides full ownership, of course. It's a no-brainer. You own it, it's yours. Intellectual property, customization, you're able to tweak a lot of things, you're able to build it in a certain way, I know, to match, business needs. However, the challenge there is, I forgot to add that here. I don't think I added it. Even legal aspect of it. If you want to a lot of what's it called? Okay, if you want to do a lot of stuff, you just need to know, especially if it's going to be a big program, right? A big product. That is how that's going to happen, right? For strategic partnership, when you know, okay, you know what, you look at the value of the company, the strategic goals of the company, and you just tell yourself, nah, this is not going to work. Building in-house is going to take too much time. It's going to be expensive for us. Hiring, there's something called technical debt, and all of that. Yeah, regulatory compliance, right? So better to integrate into a third party, accelerate launch with existing compliance and proven infrastructure, offers scalability, also allows teams to focus on other things, the differentiators, a whole lot of things. Just like I said, partnering with a telehealth provider to instantly offer remote consultation within your app. Next slide, please. Right, now for the third part, white labeling, which is, like I said, is just a little bit like the younger brother to the DIY. The problem here, right, customers lose trust when redirected to forced to switch platforms. So this is where white labeling comes in. You just need to look for, whilst you're building embedded healthcare or embedded solutions or not, first you want to think about it. Again, do I want to waste time and building house? Do I have the resources? Do I have resources now? It could either be money or even the team to build it, right? Regulatory compliance or legal compliance, all of those things. You just need to understand. Now, if your answer to all of these things is no, just go look for a product, some system already that already exists that they can white label for you. They have the white labeling as an option. This allows for external services to be embedded. Again, allows you to consume third-party APIs to fully blow out that white labeled solution for yourself. And of course, you can slam on top of it your logos, your UI UX consistency. You can use that as your UI UX research. all of that stuff. It also ensures that the journey is uninterrupted. Users come on it, they don't even know that it's for somebody else. You just know I'm on, for example, Well Health, this is Well Health here. Even if I'm to pay and I go elsewhere, it's still on Well Health website. Benefits: preserves brand equity and strengthens loyalty. Of course, reduces customer friction and builds confidence that your brand is the single source of value or truth when users make use of your platform. Next slide, please. So go-to-market speed to integration. The three enablers of speed, really, because launch speed is very critical and important. Let's be honest with ourselves. You know that you do, whether you're building a mini version or you're building MVP, which is minimum viable product, to just test your hypothesis, ensuring that your idea really works. Three things: prioritization. You need to use the different frameworks to use for this. The must have, should have, could have, right? The RISE, reach, impact, confidence, effort. They're just different frameworks you can use to prioritize the kinds of features or functionalities you want to launch, to be honest. Now, modularity. Design systems with plug and play capabilities to integrate new services quickly without large scale rework. This just means, just like the third-party integration, you just need something simple, something that you've already prioritized your work, right? You prioritize the features you want to do. You just quickly look at it and then use the frameworks to judge the kinds of features you want to launch that would make a lot of sense, right? That would actually help your idea, help you understand what the idea is about, especially when users jump on it and then you understand their processes really, right? In that instance, you're able to do your plug and play. You're not losing value. Instead, you're gaining a lot of time and resources. Third, cross-functional alignment. Alignment here. Engineering is well aligned. Legal, compliance, even your product team, your sales, your marketing, because why? The speed to integration into production and deployment to the market is all that matters. And then you, again, treat launches like pit crew. Everyone works simultaneously. Everybody's just there. They know what they're doing and they get to do it and they can ship fast and launch fast. Next slide, please. Now, to the crux of the matter, where we merge everything together. The no code versus full embed approaches. No code embeds really is a pre-built, externally hosted widget or snippet. It's already built by somebody else, right? That you just need to drop into your product. Case in point here would be for healthcare product startups that have their apps. That singular widget to be able to have patients call into doctors, right? Call into any GP, general practitioners, right? To say, okay, this is the problem I'm having. This is how I want to talk to a doctor. And then you enable that video correspondence. I mean, just like this Zoom, I think Zoom has one. There's another one by doc.xe or something. There are a whole lot of them, right? It just allows you to embed that into your system, right? That is available to users instantly. You don't need any backend engineering here. It's just plug and play. Real example of plug and play. Extremely fast for deployment. Again, like I said, minutes or hours. Best suited for MVPs, most minimum viable product. Market testing of that idea, and then non-core features quickly. Requires little to no engineering for. But the limitation here is this: you are not able to customize as you want, unlike the DIY, right? And less control over data and long-term stability. Unfortunately for you, some no-code embeds will not allow you to hold the data of the number of calls you've made, right? Until maybe you're able to extend it. However, that's because they want to keep that in their own database. Now, the full API integrations, that's the other guy, allows you for full control. Full API integrations literally is pulling the integration into from somebody else. So the API full embed approaches now. For example, for how do I put it now? I don't know which payment gateway Wella Health is integrated into, but for healthcare startups, right? In order to allow users to be able to pay with card or make some sort of payment, either pay with card or pay by transfer or any other option that is available. That full API integration is the integration straight into a payment gateway. It could be Monify, it could be Paystack, it could be Flutterwave. Full on that one, you don't have iframe. Meanwhile, the iframe that you would have or a widget that you have is going to be inside the payment gateway, depending on the kind of switch the payment gateway is using to facilitate that payment, right? Now, provide full control, deep integration and scalability, of course, allows for advanced customization. You can customize it as you want, right? And the ownership of customer data. The data you see from there is yours. It's not for the third party because they allow you to own it. It's resource heavy, it's slower to implement, of course, because you guys need to play it right. It's not just plug and play and moving on. Decision framework. Use no code for experimentation and speed to market. You want to judge your MVP and collect data if this idea makes sense to users. No code. However, invest in full embed when the service becomes core to your product's long-term vision, right? Next slide, please. Now, the key takeaways, which is literally my conclusion. Customer loyalty should be viewed holistically, right? Behavior, emotional, and value alignment. Building in-house offers control, but guess what? It actually requires heavy lifting and investment, right? Do you want to run to VC, sharp, when you're about to build? Or do you want to use no code to now go to VC because you have something that you can show to them, right? Partnerships deliver speed and efficiency. Again, white labeling ensures seamless, consistent experiences. Nobody is moving from one, how do I put it now? www dot to www dot slash. Everything is still inside the same white labeling framework. Go-to-market speed relies on prioritization, modularity, and then no-code embeds help test ideas quickly, sharp. However, API full embedded integrations allow you for a longer vision, longer term. And finally, web product leaders balance control, speed, cost, and customer experience to make the right choices for growth. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Anu. Give me a second. Let me come back. Yeah, I'm back. So thank you very much, Anu. I think for me, the key thing that I've learned is that there isn't a one size fits all. Everybody, there's loads of different options. There's loads, so nobody has an excuse. My own thing is after this webinar today, every single product person here, CEO, I want to see you thinking of how to embed healthcare into what it is that you do. So thank you very much, Anu. You've given our audience a clear roadmap on how they can approach this opportunity from a product perspective. Now we will be moving into our live Q&A segment. Initially, I wanted us to take a 5-minute break before this segment, but just so we can wrap this up as quickly as possible. Let's just start with my own question. So I have 2 questions. The first one, Anu, I'm coming back to you immediately. From a product leader's point of view, where does one even begin to make the case for a completely new embedded service like healthcare, where your primary focus is on something completely different, say something like payments, for example?
Okay. For you to make a case at all, let me be sure I've been muted. Okay, yes, I have. For you to make a case at all, see, it's a very how do I put it down? 3 things, right? 3 things. You need to know what exactly. I mean, I think I said it inside when I was talking, really, right? I think it will be the clear product vision. And what I mean is, problem definition. Just like I said, you need to know what exactly you want to get out of the product you're building. You need to know what the solution is speaking to, who your targeted audience is first, before you come to a conclusion of, is it embedded? Are you going to use a no-code embed, or are you going to use a full-on integration in terms of whatever product you're building, right? So you need to look at your target market, product vision in itself. Does it tie to the company, right? And then number 2 would be, after you know what number 1 is, you have your answers, you've done your research, you have the data. how clean is that data infrastructure before you even start building anything at all? How does it speak to the kind of work you want to do? Does it going to, I mean, well, let me say it like this. Is it going to allow you to flex your muscle if you want to build in house? Or is it going to constrain you to say, okay, you know what, we don't have the resources for this. Let's just go and integrate into somebody, or let's have a widget that is just going to help us do one or two of the features, right? And three, finally, is how ready are you tech-wise? You have to think about that really. So you have your number one sorted, you have your number two, you have a clean data infrastructure, you have a clean data infrastructure here now could be database, right? But how ready are you? How are you able to tie your engineering and your product team together to say, okay, this is the amount of work we have to do, and this is how we want to do it? So I think those are just the three steps for me.
Thank you very much. Yes, that clearly answers my question. I think my final question, Moses, this is for you, right? I want to know. We've heard a lot about everything that how we can go ahead and do this white labeling, seamless integration, APIs, etc.
Yeah.
So, for audience members that are thinking about it, what is one simple and non-negotiable principle they should apply to ensure that the new service truly feels like a natural part of their platform and not just like, oh, they just slapped on anything here and gave it to me? How can anybody thinking about this make sure that whatever service they are adding onto their platform feels very natural?
So is it from the part of the policymakers or from?
Yes. So what should the policymakers be thinking about so that when I, as a user, am using that service, I'm not just thinking, oh, this will just put anything here and ask me to use it, or they just put anything that doesn't make sense, or instead of that, it feels like, oh, okay, it makes sense. It's good that, for example, a payment gateway is having this embedded health care, so
Yeah.
that so just what is one thing that everyone should keep in mind?
So the most important thing is that it has to be seen as a responsibility, right? It should not just be, oh, we are trying to provide services, we are trying to retain our customers, we are trying to grow our bottom line. It should be seen as a responsibility. So if it's seen as a responsibility, then there's that avenue to create awareness where you have to properly educate the customers on the value that you are giving to them. Do you understand? So I listened to a podcast recently. Sorry for that. And this person was trying to describe how Nigerians love hope, love to dream. Do you understand? So whatever product you are selling to Nigerians, whatever you give to Nigerians in this context, you have to help them know that, yeah, this is part of their life. It is important for them. Do you understand? It is important for them. So it has to be, number one, make it a responsibility as a policymaker. Number two is proper awareness, steady awareness. Let them understand the benefits that they're enjoying with this. So that's what I'll say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it's key, that responsibility part. So if it comes more from an angle of, I, as a company owner, a CEO, whatever it is, a product owner, I feel responsible for my customers. I feel responsible for my users, and so from that angle, here is what I'm presenting to you. I think it will feel very genuine. So thank you very much for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want us to go too much over time, but I think we have at least one question. Okay. So the question says, can Wella Health share examples of embedded health solutions with payment gateways that they've done and its success? You want us to give out our business secrets? You want us to give us our business secret? All I can tell you is that there have been two testers that have been done. So Anum talked about MVPs, right? So where you sort of test out the product and see how that works. So we've done two and we've been wildly successful. In fact, one of them saw us reaching about 3 million new subscribers through that gateway. So I can't give you too much more information than that, but yeah, just know it's stuff that we have tested, we have tried, and we know works. Okay. So I think that's all the time we have for now. Managed to just stay at the point where we are about 6 minutes over time. So I think we've done good. So thank you very much to Moses, to Dr. Oluwafumike, to Anu for all their incredible insights and sharing their very valuable time with us. So before we sign out, I know. Just give me a few more minutes. Before we go, I want to leave you with a quick thought. Today, we've shown you that embedded healthcare is a proven way to drive customer retention, build brand loyalty, and create new revenue streams. We've compiled all this data, the market research, and the case study into our comprehensive embedded healthcare and the future of retention report. This report is a powerful tool to help you make a business case for embedding healthcare within your own company. So you can get a copy of this report now. It should be in the link in the chat box. Let's see. Yeah. So there's a link in the chat box taking you to where you can download that report. Okay. Therefore, those of you who are saying, all this talk, yes, I'm pumped up, I'm ready to go, I want to go now. Our team will love to help you build a revenue and retention roadmap for your business. You can book a free, no obligations consultation with a Wella Health expert. The link is also going to be in the chat box. Yes, I can see the link there. So, guys, please, I want you guys to run up these links. Okay? So thank you very much for joining us. It's been my absolute pleasure hosting you all today, and I look forward to seeing you all at our next event. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your week and an even more incredible weekend. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, Anita. Thanks, everyone. Bye.